my friend made that. It's pretty sick, yeah.
Super sick.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Winging It podcast. The weather's allowed us to sit outside this time, and I thought it'd be fantastic to sit out in the I guess it's not the sun, but the breeze is coming through. Today, I'm pretty excited actually. We're joined with Noro. Now Noro's a guy that I met. That's a different story of how we met, but an Armenian guy, and yeah. So I guess the first question that I have for you is, how did you come to Austria? What's your story, and why did you come to Austria?
Long story or the short story?
I guess short.
All right, let's go short.
Yeah.
So I moved to Vienna. I came to see my host parents, and so basically I was looking for university, and then I just ended up coming to Salzburg and see the university, and then I just applied here, and then there I am.
Yeah.
Super simple.
Was it hard to get a visa here, or how did you just got a student visa? Did you?
Yeah. In the beginning, I got the student visa. So I came here. I was pretty confused all the regulations or these visa procedures.
Yeah.
But I mean, put some hard work there. A bit of hustle. But then in the end of the day, it pays off. I mean, in the end of the day, you see, we enjoy the life here.
Yeah, 100%. And that's I think you're probably one of the. Well, I don't know you too well, but you're probably one of the most hardworking people that I know here, because you first of all, you managed to do so much, but you also managed to know so many people. One thing that, if I could say one thing about you, is you're so incredibly extroverted in the best way possible. You're the kind of guy that I'll see on the street, and whilst I see you on the street, there's three other people seeing you on the street. It's hey Noro, and then three other people, hey Noro. So that's pretty crazy. So how did you have you always been like that, or?
I mean, probably it was because of my experience in the US. I used to live there, so I moved to US when I was 16. So I had to go out of my comfort zone first of all there.
Right.
And that was my first exposure to the outside world, let's say, besides Armenia. So
yeah,
I had to talk with people. So in the beginning it was a language barrier, and then after a while, you just get exposed to the people, and it just became a natural. I guess I had it in me, and then it just developed there. And then from there on, I mean, I love communicating with people, and the network is one of the greatest assets these days,
100%, yeah.
So even though you meet people that are not really, you are not going to become friends, at least you try to make a good relationship, because one day you might catch up with them, you might be useful to each other, And it became now as a habit in me, just to connect with people. I don't have that thought in me anymore. It just happens naturally.
Yeah. But that's I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's probably one of the biggest contributor to you, building a life here. So in the way that you have, and you just said before when we were getting a coffee, you were when your sister's moving here too now, and you're she's going to have it a lot easier than you did, because you've already had this time to build connections. And
exactly.
And that what you just said proves that, right? You've had the network here.
Yeah,
I think that's great. I think, it's crazy. And the fact that you do it once kind of teaches yourself that you should do it. Because, for example, our mutual friend Victor, right?
Yeah.
He
exactly.
literally heard that I was from New Zealand. And he just walks up and talks to me, and then we're sitting here now, chatting now. So,
exactly.
And then we can help each other. You can get me a job. I can get you a job. We can do this in the future. So it's crazy how it all works.
Yeah. But it was funny. It was funny how we end up getting to know each other in the stand-up show.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually, I don't know if you remember when the guy was picking on us because of the countries.
Yeah.
And then when you said, I'm from New Zealand, then he was like, I don't have a joke on that.
Yeah.
And I was like, when he asked me, I'm going to say that I'm also from New Zealand, so he doesn't have a joke on me as well, which worked pretty well. So it was
but he did ask you too.
Yeah, he asked me. I said, I'm from New Zealand. Joke's on you, mate, now. Yeah, but then I told that I'm from Armenia. He didn't have a joke for Armenia as well, so it was a fair deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's such a weird experience as when you get like, for example, that was an English comedy night, and there's like these weird circumstances where you meet other English speakers. Like there's like weird hubs around Salzburg. Salzburg's not a big place, and
It's not a big place, no.
bro. It's not the easiest place to meet like
Yeah.
other expats. For example, you go like Berlin.
Yeah,
There's probably
yeah.
millions of English speakers there, but in Salzburg,
Easy.
you kind of have to pick your chances. Like if you go to an English-speaking comedy night, it's like a good idea to make friends there and like talk to
Way
people.
easier, mate. Way easier. I mean, like, you know, you live here and I live here as well. I mean, it's pretty hard to kind of connect with people here unless you know a few people, because like, you know, people are very like conservative here,
Yeah.
and they have already established their friends group. So you as a foreigner, when you come here and you're trying to get into the group of those friends, the likeliness to connect with these people is really hard because they've already established their friend zone. So
Yeah.
they'll be like, yeah, what's up? But when you meet some new people who are outsiders, it's easier. But that's the thing. It's really hard to find. Hard is I mean, it's not hard, but like it's not like every day you just meet those people, you know. Like, I mean, if you're working, you don't have that much time as well, you know, to meet. Luckily enough, because
Yeah.
of university, it allowed me to get to know more people because I went to like more international school here. So
Yeah.
that helped me 100% way more. So the only like advice to the people who come here probably will be like try to get into a community which is international. That will help you for sure to get exposed to other people way
Yeah.
easier, definitely.
And it's also it's also real awesome to be in an international community because you can touch off different cultures like
Definitely.
Netherlands,
Yeah.
Armenia,
Yeah.
South Africa,
Yeah.
Ireland, and then you just learn like so much from
Yeah.
these different cultures.
It's crazy, mate.
But one thing that I love, catch me up on what's going on here, but you started you and your mate Brendan
Me and my brother,
started
yeah,
a
my
company
bro-
called Might,
Yep.
which is a socks clothing brand.
Yeah.
And what I want to say real quick before you go on about it is the name started from your mate traveled to Australia and he heard everyone saying Might, and then you started the sock brand from that name. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like when I moved here, I didn't have a job obviously, and I was just hunting down any job that possible.
Yeah.
So I got into gastronomy or hospitality, you know, in restaurant, and then I was working as a bartender. So and then we just called each other like mate. So it went into to become even a smoother mighty. So and then we just called each other mighty. And then I tend to wear like these funky socks, you know.
Yeah.
And then every time he was seeing, he's like, "Oh, what you wearing, man?" I was like, "Oh, socks," you know. He's like, "Ah, but black socks, man, or like white socks, you know, one color." And I was like, "No, man, it's nice, it's funky." And then he ended up start wearing those socks as well. And then funny enough, like one day we just go to uni, and then I see him wearing exactly the same sock as I'm wearing. And then he was like, "Oh, maybe we should start a sock company, you know? We make." I was like, "Oh, fair enough, mate." I was like, well, let me think about it. I went home and I have some connections back home as well. So I talked to my friends and then, I said, let's start it. It was like, it was a joke, man. I was like, well, it's not anymore. So that's how we started.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty nice experience. I got out of it a lot of stuff, you know, learnings and stuff, applying all my knowledge. And it's pretty dope. Yeah.
Dude. Nah, everyone that's listening here, you should definitely look on Instagram, Might, M-I-T-E-E.
Yeah, Mighty
it
Socks.
Might or is it
Mighty
Mighty?
Socks. Mighty Socks. Yeah, M-I-T-E-E Socks.
Yeah, and then go and buy some socks.
Yeah, go and buy some socks, guys.
Support this champ.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
But so a question about cultures, like from your home, so in Armenia, what is, if you could like clarify a bit of the differences between your culture and the culture in Austria. I think you've had enough time here to sort of like understand like how they do things here a little bit, and for example the food, the people, the landscape, temperature, seasons, festivals, all this sort of stuff. Like what do you, if you could think of like some differences, I guess, what do you like, you know?
Yeah. Well, let's start from similarities, what we have in common. I guess the landscape is very similar, because we have a lot of mountains back home, too. Food-wise, we eat similar food, everything, basically. what they eat here.
Really?
Maybe
Okay.
maybe more of spice differences, I would say.
Okay.
But in general, it is so. But the most, I think, the biggest like difference I could see is the hospitality.
Mhm.
Because we in Armenia are very hospitable, very much, and we are known for that. Like all around, like surroundings, regions, the
Right.
countries, they know and they come for that because, like, I give this example all the time. Like, if you are traveling to Armenia and you are in one of the countrysides, all right, and then you're thirsty and you are like hopping by in one of the houses and asking for water, high likely they will invite you for food. Like, what water? Come for food as well.
Yeah.
That's a hospitality I'm speaking about. And it was really hard for me also when I came here. Things work out differently here. I mean, it's their culture, and that's how it's supposed to be. Because it's not like it has been developed in one day. It's been years. That
100%,
it's really hard to change that. But it is that's something that was different for me. I had to start to adjust myself, because I live here,
Yeah.
and that's I would say that was the biggest challenge to go through.
Yeah. I can relate to you on that one as well. And I think it's funny because the other people that I've talked about the cultural differences and stuff also say similar things as to the hospitality. Hospitability.
Quite hard word. Yeah.
I'm a native English speaker.
Yeah.
too.
By the way.
Compared to like Austria, compared to other countries, is there's definitely something there. Is like they like their they like their culture, they like their traditions, they like their small groups, and it's definitely hard to get in there. But when you do get in there, and I can say this because I thankfully have been invited most of the time to my girlfriend's sort of Austrian stuff, is that they are like such nice people. You just got to get in. So you just got to try and you just got to,
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard thing, in life, it is the same way. It's just hard to get there.
Yeah.
It's even for a job, it's just hard to get that first job.
Yeah.
And then it goes smoother, once you get exposed to that. And it also depends. And just for the sake of saying, we are not criticizing the culture, but we're just saying, like, what is the differences for us,
Absolutely,
It's not like we're saying, oh, that's bad or good, there is no bad or good. It's just what we perceive. And you might perceive it differently, obviously, because you maybe get to know different people than I do. And you might say, oh, I met so many nice people. Maybe I made such a DB people, like it depends comes from experience to experience. Is quite different.
Yeah, and what you said before is that this isn't something that changes over day. This is a culture that's built over millions, like not millions.
Yeah, but I mean,
a long time.
Yeah, long time. Yeah, it's a accumulated thing. It's not like just hope people just are this way, No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I learned something the other day that I want to share just now. Is that like there's a part in the human brain that is called the banal ganglia. I hope I pronounced that right. And essentially, that part is the sort of part of your brain that creates neurological pathways that helps you do motives. So move, for example, if you're driving, right? Why can we talk and have a complicated conversation on the phone and drive at the same time? We're driving, it's not
multitasking at
exactly.
the same.
And so your banal ganglia memorizes and creates a neurological pathway that allows driving to be easier for you.
Yeah.
If you think of driving, it's like you're in this chunk of metal going at 100 kilometers an hour with lights flashing. There's bikers going past. It's actually a lot more complicated than you think,
exactly,
right? Yeah. And there's that can be. So what I learned is that can sort of also go into the way that your behavior is. So if you drive and you learn to drive in a certain way and you can talk on the phone, then you can also behave in a cultural way. And that's something that, like you said, this is something that progresses over time, and that culture has that's been building up. But I don't know,
evolves all the time. I mean also, like there is two types of people, right? You have everyone builds up certain type of behavior, and then you have people who are open and you have people who are closed. So if you're an open-minded person, and then the process will go easier for you and quicker. So me again, just because I lived in US, I was so early exposed to culture, such a different culture than mine. For me was not as hard as would be from someone that comes directly from, let's say, from Armenia or from Georgia or from somewhere directly comes to Austria, and they will have a culture shock, what they call it, right? Culture. They are like, oh, what is this? But that's something I have already coped before, which made my path easier to realize that this is something that's gonna go away during the time. It's not something that will stay there.
That's super sick. Do you think that if you were to look at your friends back home, could they do what you did? So could they pick up everything and move to Austria today?
Depends. Some of my friends who I know, they probably could do that, but some of them, I don't know. It's really hard because, funny enough, I haven't seen most of my friends already a few years. And when I go there, this feeling that you, like for yourself, you don't change, right? You think you are the same guy.
Yeah.
But when you go home, you are like, and then when you put yourself in comparison to the people who are there and the people that you used to know, you see how much you grew or what changed in you, in terms of mentality wise as well. Like when I was back home 2 years ago, and I had a conversation, and I said a certain way of opinion, which most of my friends didn't agree with me, but like I felt I changed also. I wouldn't think the same way back in the days.
Yeah.
Back in the days, it sounds like we're 2 years ago. Back in the days.
Yeah, but 2 years when you're doing this sort of thing, from my point of view as well, it feels longer than it is. Like, it's mind blowing to me to think 3 years ago I was this naive, stupid university kid. Like, I used to do stupid things, with my friends and this and that, whatever. And to think of that now. Like it feels so far away, and I think that it's so true what you just said. Like, you don't see yourself change.
No, but would you think that you would end up here in Austria?
No way.
Definitely.
I've always had a burning desire to face challenges. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like the umbrella, like the sort of largest scheme of things as to why I'm here. I feel like I would hear someone, say, go swim in the cold water, and I'd feel like, oh man, I have to do it now because I can't like, I gotta face this. Yeah. Or it could be such an extreme, challenge as to meeting my girlfriend's parents without having any help from anyone that speaks English whatsoever. So I have to sort of communicate through several different ways and stuff like that. And that's just a personality trait for me. And if I was to ask, if you asked me, for example, if my friends could come here and live here in this country, a lot of them probably would say no, because there's so many hard times that make you just want to pack up and leave.
I mean, you're coming from such a chill culture as well. You are so chill and living next to the ocean, and everything is chill. But here things to be like done. It's very like there's like points. You have to do this. You have to. But bring an example from from South Africans when they say like now, just now. The difference between these. So when you are talking with South African person, they will be like, "Oh, I'll see you now." Yeah, I think it's a different like now. I might be wrong, but like if you say just now could be an hour. If you say now, it could be a day or something. I will see you later. Okay. So when I got to know one of my friends here, and then he would say like, "I'll see you just now," and then just now for me is like I'm on my way. And then he would show up after an hour. I'll be like, "Dude, where were you?" "Yeah, I told you I will come just now." But he didn't think that I know that, So it's a very, very funny thing that that's also cultural,
Yeah.
Like you think everyone knows, but that your brain doesn't say, "Hey, you are not there anymore," you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know if you have ever, but I'm pretty sure you have a couple of South African friends.
Yeah.
Ask them.
My mate said that to me yesterday. He's like, he called me 3 times because... Or was it yesterday? I don't know. It was raining, and he was calling me. He's like, "Hey mate, just trying to find a parking spot." Yeah. And then blah blah blah. And he's like, "Okay, see you now." Yeah. And I was like, "See you now." Okay. Exactly. All good. Like I kind of can assume what that means. Yeah. But then he said it like 3 times, and I'm like, that's a bit weird. But I just sort of went with it. Yeah. My thing with that is, what you're saying now is that I used to speak so much quicker. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe I'm speaking a bit quick now because I had a coffee, but but I used to speak so much quicker and with such a, from my point of view, a horrible accent, like a horrible New Zealand accent, And I've slowly faded that accent and sounded more clear and more and sort of slower for people because I know that they don't understand.
I don't even know how like you sound, guys. Like I can't recall even how the New Zealandese accent is like. Australian, I can imagine. I heard more, but New Zealandese, I don't know. Is it similar?
It's everyone says it's basically the same.
Yeah.
I can tell the difference, and all New Zealanders and Australians can tell the difference.
Yeah, it was funny. One of your friends was asking if I'm an Aussie a couple days ago when you called me, and was saying if I'm Finnish or Aussie.
Oh, really?
You're pretty drunk, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I was in the phone, and then he was like, "Mate, are you from Finland?" I'm like, "No, mate." He's like, "Oh, are you Aussie?" I'm like, "No, man, not even close." It was next to you, probably. I don't know. Yeah. It was funny. It was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I think that there's so many different things that you kind of have to come to realization with.
Yeah.
It takes time. It takes persistence.
Yeah, exactly, mate.
You've been to like a few countries. What's your favorite country and why?
Ooh. Okay, when you said that came the first country that came was Portugal, I would say.
Okay.
It's probably I was there a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. One of the friendliest. Again, see, for me, culture is plays such a big role in terms of a destination. You know, friendliness.
And
it's just people are warm there. You know, like it's just like different people are vibing, people are chill, and I don't know, it's just the whole vibe is different. You feel like really chilled there. Like I don't have that stress on me. It's somehow, I mean, people who live next to the ocean, I guess, are generally so chilled. I assume so because I have heard a lot of people who would say like, you know, Aussies or you guys or I don't know, Spanish people, you know, the culture is so much different. If you compare even the Italian, like northern part or the southern part, also they're different, you know, the way things are there, you know. But I would say Portugal definitely one of my favorite in Europe, one of my favorite countries in terms of food, culture, and the vibe, and people are just super friendly there.
Have you just been on holiday there, or did you live there? Or?
No, I've just been on holiday. See, that could be a different point. Leaving and spending a holiday is quite different, you know, because then you really get to know the people, because then you really get to work with the people. That's another aspect. How people are working and how are things, you know. Like one of my mates, I think even Victor, when he came to Salzburg, he found it super nice, super friendly, and then when he came here, it was like a bit different for him as well, you know. He was like, okay, there are certain things I didn't have the impression from the first time.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, it's really hard to say. From first impression, travel perspective, Portugal, but living perspective, I can't say because I only lived here. Right. So yeah. What's your favorite?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I mean, I haven't been to that many places. I'll list them real quick. I've been to Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, New Zealand, Australia, Italy, Salzburg, and Croatia.
Nice.
And I would say out of those, my favorite place on the planet. So out of those, because I can't say planet because New Zealand.
New Zealand. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just this, you know.
Besides your country, let's say that.
Let's do that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Because then I will call my country as well. So.
Yeah, true. Oh man, I think my favorite place is Thailand.
Yeah.
Wow. But again, that's a travel mindset. You know, it's complete. If I was to live there, bro, that's so much different than
definitely
traveling and being on holiday and hostels every day, you know.
Yeah.
So, but the reason why I said Thailand was just because the probably the vibe that you get, like you kind of said with Portugal, it's like you can kind of be entirely yourself, and I felt more. I find that my adventures through Thailand somehow shaped me into the person that was genuinely me. You know, when we grow up and we go through these horrible, well, I think quite horrible education systems, they're trying to fit you into like a shoe that you you know, one size fits all kind of thing. Right. And everyone kind of needs to find who they genuinely are instead of what society's telling them to be.
Exactly.
And I think Thailand helped me a lot with that sort of the realization that life isn't what people tell you it is. Kind of, you got to find your way.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a very fair point, man.
Yeah, and so that's the reason why. But I look forward to seeing a lot more places. I want to go to Portugal now that you say that.
Yeah, definitely. You should give it a try. Definitely. It's a small country. I mean, you can just do a trip within a week up to down. It's very, very nice place, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely recommend it to everyone, even
Okay.
if you have never been there. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
Do
you have anything you want to say on the old podcast?
On podcast. One thing I would say to you, it's that you brought this podcast. It's a super amazing thing, and when I first heard it, it was quite interesting because we don't have such stuff here. Personally, everything is obviously in German, and for people who do not speak German, obviously it's hard to follow. It's good to listen to German podcasts to learn the language, obviously. But if you don't, and it's an amazing way to go to work, just put the headphones there and just listen to it, and to hear different types of stories, I mean, if you live here, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people living in Austria, and I would highly recommend the podcast as well to the guys who are out there and listening. And I personally listen to every story, and it's interesting to learn about the people.
Yeah. For me, it's like really good for networking. Going back to what we were saying at the start, like I get to meet people that have their own journey. For example, your thoughts and opinions are so much different from someone else, and like if I can talk to you about it and then talk to someone else from a different place about it, and it just grows my understanding and everything like that. So that's something that I like a lot about it. But yeah, good. Well then, let's wrap it up, eh?
Yeah, let's wrap it up, mate.
Any plans for the day?
Ooh, wanna go for a swim? For a dip? It's quite hot here, 29 degrees, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
dude,
nice and chill.
Beautiful,
yeah.
All right, cheers everybody.
Yeah, cheers for listening, guys.